Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us tonight. For the sake of time, we're going to start the lecture. But let me start by recognizing and acknowledging that we are on the lands of the Peoria, Kaskaskia, Piankashaw, Wea, Miami, Muscatine, Odawa, Sauk, Meskwaki, Kickapoo, Potawatomi, Ojibwe, and Chickasaw nations. These lands were the traditional territory of these native nations prior to their forced removal. These lands continue to carry the stories of these nations and their struggles for survival and identity. As a land-grant institution, the University of Illinois has a particular responsibility to acknowledge the peoples of these lands, as well as the histories of this possession that have allowed for the growth of this institution for the past 150 years. We are also obligated to reflect on and actively address these histories and the role that this university has played in shaping them. This acknowledgement and the centering of Native peoples is a start as we move forward for the next 150 years. Today's lecture, part of this Spring's School of Architecture lecture series, continues our exploration of ecologies of design, a theme that asks us to consider architecture as a network of interconnected paths and systems, methodologies, and cultural and environmental context. It invites us to reflect on how design engages with the dynamic relationships between humans and their material, spatial, and ecological surroundings. We are delighted to welcome Professor Mariona Benedito, whose work on pedagogy embodies this expansive understanding of architecture. Through both practice and academic leadership, she explores the discipline's potential to operate across scales, with a focus on housing, territory, and climate. I first met Mariona as a young faculty member when she joined the mixed design studio between urbanism and architectural design at the ETSAF, our sister school in Barcelona. Since then, I've followed her remarkable growth as both a practitioner and an educator. Today, we'll learn from her multifaceted career, from domestic spaces to the scale of the metropolis, in both scholarship and practice. Mariona's work traverses the scales, from intimate projects to complex urban interventions, drawing connections between ephemeral installations and lasting architectural forms. With uncommon clarity and purpose, she has the exceptional ability to design and to share design across mediums, always with thoughtfulness and precision. Professor Benedito graduated from the ETSAP, UPC, and holds an advanced studies diploma on mid-century housing in Barcelona. She has been Associate Professor of Architectural Design at ETSAP since 2003, where her research studio was recognized as finalist among the best pedagogies of the 13th Ibero-American Biennale of Architecture and Urbanism. She is also Associate Professor and Coordinator at IE Architecture and Design School and has taught at institutions including ETH Zurich, BAU, the Sam Fox School at WashU, and several Catalan universities. As co-founder of the architecture studio MIM-A, and now through her solo practice, her work has been widely recognized with awards such as the ArchInFat in both 2015 and 2020, a new European Bauhaus mention, the Catalunya Construcció Prize, and finalist positions in the 15th Spanish Biennial of Architecture and Urbanism and the EU Mies van der Rohe Award. She has also played a key role in shaping architectural discourse through exhibitions such as Arquitectura, Universitat i Territori, Emergències, Màquina Climàtica, and the episode lecture series from 2020 to 2024. Currently, she is also co-curator of the UAI World Congress of Architecture 2026, helping frame an international conversation around ecological and social responsibility in architectural design. Her lecture today reflects on how design engages with time and permanence, and how small-scale interventions can shape the fabric of the city. Bridging theory, practice, and pedagogy, Professor Benedito's approach navigates the tension between the temporary and the lasting. Her work, situated between research and action, material and territory, reminds us that architecture is not a fixed discipline, but a space of intersection, echoing what Ecologies of Design seeks to explore, how architecture can be responsive, rooted, and generative of new forms of collective agency. We are thrilled to have her with us here today. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Professor Mariona Benedito. So you have to wear this somewhere here.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a bit overwhelming. This is big space. Thank you for coming. I am super thrilled and thankful to Sarah. That is my connection to this university today. Thank you to all of you for doing this lecture series and wanting to have my presence here today. And I will start. What I was wanting to share with you is the feeling of why are we doing architecture? No? What moves us? What is touching? What is exciting? Why? Why? Is it a question that keeps us alert? I think that's the attitude to be doing this career and then later doing the practice. No? I am, as Sarah was mentioning, working in the 3 registers: investigation, and research, teaching, and then the practice. So through them, I have tackled this in an easier manner, this attention or awakening, or the way that we have to be alert of the importance of architecture. Of course, it's not neutral. It's shaping our everyday lives, and it's also touching our emotions. So I wanted to say architecture across scales because, as you will see, I've prepared a short lecture. It has a lot of slides, but I'm really fast. And I try to express how, even in the smallest intervention, in the XS intervention, no, which can be an ephemeral installation, can be the same energy put in this installation than in a very big project. It also says in the title, from plate to Plaza, because from the smallest thing to the metropolis, I think we are the same people with this interest in understanding why is it so important what we are doing. No? And this is a photo of one of the projects I will explain. This is a housing project in Samboy, and this idea of washing the dishes in this kitchen, and this is the built environment, but we are also shaping the city that is outside when we are lucky enough to produce a building like this. So it's not only what is what we are doing inside, but also this inside reverts in our everyday life outside. So it mediates between the public and the private, and I think that's really what moves us. No? We are doing this, looking for this richness. And then, as Sarah said, I have a thesis going on, and it's about why do we like to think of city? The city, what we learned from Manuel de Sola Morales, our professor, and the interest in this book, but also in the lectures he was giving, was explaining city through our experience. Again, it's the experience. It's something that is motivating us to look through, look further, look more into why a city is like this. And this is our city, and I know it's so different than what you experience every day. So when I will explain today my interests, you have to be conscious of what is my frame of everyday life. It's completely different to what you have as a context, an urban context, no? But in this book, which is kind of like a Bible for understanding Barcelona, in every chapter, no, you will see, this is Gracia, for example, and it's a neighborhood that's super, super dense with squares and so on. The way that it's framed makes things possible like this one, having a kind of tension that is allowing for a party to take place in the street. No? The street becomes, the public becomes an extension of my house. I feel so comfortable here as inside, right? But then other proportion of built environment, like the Champla, generates another type of interiors as well, and it's like this and so on. Just as a starter to explain you why I did my research on this. I used to live up there in this area, and every afternoon when I was, well, where you see a lot of dots, no? I was being aware that there was a type of architecture that looked very, I had to look through, no? There was something that for me was kind of a gift to the city. There was some generosity on some of the attitudes that these architects had. These architects were building just housing blocks, housing buildings. But I had to read through and understand which were the canonical ideas that were embedded in this architecture. So finally, I understood that there was kind of this blurriness of the ground floor to the interior entrances of the housing, or that the facades were resembling the back facades of Barcelona's Eixamples blocks. And just so through this understanding and this idea of city that is able to break the depth into some, giving something extra, so to say. So now I will go to the reality. No? This was all my research, my idea of city, or what I like, whatever. And then, luckily enough, and together with Estudio Herreros and Martí Sanz, in 2008, we won a competition, a public competition for doing some social housing in Samboy. You will know why I have this here. This is a very big project for us. It was a very big in our starting moment, and it won the FAT award. It involves a lot of people and a lot of money as well. And later we will go to a much smaller project that also won the FAT award, but for me has the same attitude again. No? After talking so much about how I like this density, the friction, the party walls, this idea of compact city that allows for the life to happen, this was our opportunity to build in Sant Boi. Sant Boi is in this area next to the Llobregat River. This is no pointer, but it's not so important. But this was the place. I'm just zooming in, and what? This rectangle had nothing to do with what I really liked. And over than that, this had some regulations. This red rectangle had some regulations that said, for example, that you are not allowed to have balconies to the outside. So the qualities that I enjoy in my everyday walks to my English lessons and all these things that I recall as a gratitude or generous architecture were here going to be a problem, or at least a challenge. So this was going to be called Saló Central. It's an operation of, it's in the end of the city of Sant Boi. It's in the metropolitan area of Barcelona. It's actually really close to Barcelona, but it's facing the industrial area. From the blue marked pieces that you see there, some projects were rising. We were the first one, and the promoter was IMSOL, which is a public agent that is building all the social housing in the metropolitan area of Barcelona. No? So this project was being built in the middle of nowhere and next to the industry, because this area, this neighborhood was still to be born. We were the first stone, and later on the building came up. And now they are starting construction on the others, and it seems that it's going to work. So what are we going to do if what we get is this 49 by 25 rectangle, which has to have housing? And this was at the competition moment, no? Thinking, how are we going to create in this place some of these qualities that we enjoy? No balconies, no kids playing around, no place. Where are we going to get this atmosphere? No, this use of street, this participated moments with the people. No, and this is a corrala in Sevilla So we looked for a more, maybe, how do you call professional examples, no? that we recognize that proposed ideas that were working, but it's different than what we're used to, which, like, for example, is this one, Casabloc, or El Taray in Segovia, bringing up the street, or all these examples by her, the Dutch architects, no? The Spangen in Rotterdam. So we recognize that also there are other ways which are not the way from the book. And then COVID came and proved that we really needed this type of spaces. So that was our, now I will explain, no? that was our idea, no? To bring the balconies to the inside. So if they don't let us to make the balconies to the outside, we will bring common terraces and the balconies to the inside. So this is the team of architects and technical architects, and a lot of people involved, promoters, constructors, structural engineers, installations, you know, this is a very big thing. And this was the promoter that has been doing for a really long time social housing architecture, but in the late years, and José María Borrell always likes to explain that they look for some added value, and then that started. So in his words, no, like this was the first goal in a match, in a soccer match, no, the idea to allow for some common spaces like the terraces or these balconies, no, that they don't get the profit directly, but they do get the profit on the time because the people that live there can use them and benefit from them, and then there's more cohesion and there's other values that are not just the money. No? Another thing is that those type of projects take maybe, well, this one, 11 years of my life, so is proving the tenacity that you have to be there and wait because some two crises come on the way, you change your house, you divorce, and the project is going on, no? This is overtaking all your life. These are the panels of the competition, and I just show them real fast, and I will explain a little bit what the concept was. So we had this strategy, and today we had some conversations with some of you, the students of 4th grade. No? How many cores do I need for making the commission? The commission was 105 dwellings, so we were doing a lot of tests. Finally, we came up with this. This was, I think, what made us win the proposal, which is an invariable base, and then on the sides always can vary between 4 units of 1 dorm or 3 units of 2 dorms. So it was a very clear scheme, and mainly having in this rectangle an idea of a throughout lobby, interlacing stairs in scissor-like stairs, which means that I go from one side of the patio to the other side of the patio, which is a bit of a mess for the Amazon guy. He's always getting lost, but you can cross through the lift. That's something. If you have a friend that lives in your same level, but in the other patio, you need to cross through the lift, because from the stairs you would never get there. But it works. That was to lose the maximum, the minimum footprint, no, with the cores, and also to have bigger and more air and more ventilation in the bigger patios. Exterior footbridges would reach all the apartments. The standard base was 12 units, and then this would be the total volume allowed, but we started making some subtractions that were trying to get as much light as possible. This was the southern facade to this inner courtyard, and emptying in some kind of more plastic way in the other facade so that the air can go through. Interior materiality, warm tones and nicer materials, or warmer domestic, or things that we relate to our home, no, so to say, and outside much more monolithic, more facing the metropolis. No? So that's the scissors there for if someone, and then was also a very big difficulty, which was making 110 parking units. This is something we have to fight against because we are digging down into the ground, changing water courses, just for hiding the car parks. And then 25 meters is a very bad width for that because you can't even have another line of parking. Well, it was a disaster. Bueno, look what is hidden. It's almost double, no? It makes no sense. Well, this is the section as it was done in the end, and an idea of all the wet elements are near the corridors. So you have also an open kitchen to the living room, and this was the scheme that was winning because it was very, very clear. There was the moment when we did not 110, but 95, and we could operate this other void in the other side. And then was the crisis, and we stopped from 2009 until 2017. That one day they called us and said, yes, it's going to happen. I was like, wow, great. No? And then, but it has to spend so much time and you have to be alert. And then when they said that it's going to happen, but there's a minor change. We don't want so many apartments in one dorm and the 2 dorms. We want 3 dorms and more of 2 dorms. And we're like, but we are already in the building site. Doesn't matter. But we talked to the constructor and we fixed it. So luckily, the scheme was so clear that we could swap. But we were on digging down in the parking. We had 1 year of digging down. But we could make out of the 1 dorm, well, you see the change now, and it doesn't really matter. So, and during the construction, this was also interesting. These materials that are for us, for me, this is the rooftops where my grandma is hanging clothes and I smell still the soap, and these kind of tiles with these patterns, we brought them in. It's not exactly the same material. We used this lattice for protection, and then there was a lot of work in construction so that we were making with cardboard templates so that the construction workers were going to get it right, because there was a lot of care that this was going to fold, and in the end, it came out. It was a very applauded building because I think it was the year of the pandemics. So the visit of the jury was the day before the lockdown. And maybe this had something to do, no? We were defending this idea that, materiality is this really sharp, accepting that this was going to be no balconies, very sharp volume facing not the highway, but this is quite a busy road. And then also another strategy was to pack that, like this is one house and this is another house, but we trick a little bit because we are trying to make it seems that it has 4 apartments per floor, but it has much more, no? So it has the scale of the city, while inside has this warmth. This is the corridor that you can cross. There's a lot of love also in the smaller aspects, and yeah, these are some of the views of these diagonals that allow you to have light ventilation, but also talk to your neighbors when you're here, and some of the images of the proposal. And this idea of having the open kitchen was also somehow very having the elements of the necessary elements of the life, which is also cooking or washing your clothes and drying your clothes. Having thought of the space of that and integrating it in the units. So there was always like a space for the clothes as well. The balconies, or today we were talking also in class, no? They start really low. They start at 45 centimeters from the floor, and they really have this balcony effect. So you sit on your couch, but you really look outside, and it is the feeling of a lot of light is coming in, and it's quite exterior, no? And then magic. This is worth my career and my work and everything. So nothing can beat this. This is Sergio, one of the neighbors of the buildings. And when we went to visit him, because we were doing some photo shootings, there was something here in the corner. I don't know if you see it, but you will see it here. He had built the building with Lego. So he loves the building. So we touch someone. So it means that it works. And this, for me, that's really like I mean, this guy, he only could build 3 levels, okay? He needs to get 7. So I promise that I will bring some Lego pieces so he can finish. But it has everything. Even the photovoltaic things has the whole, it's pink inside. I mean, amazing, amazing. I mean, it's a bit creepy because he has photos and things that I've never published. So it's a little bit creepy. But, and this is the other moment. This was Rafael, but this was during the building site. This is Canarios, I don't know the name. Canaries? This is a tradition. People have pets that are birds that they are in cages. But they have this cloth around them, and they carry them, and they put them in the sun for the morning and every day, no? So they walking the dog? No, they're carrying the canary. And when they come here, they put a wooden stick on these holes. This is a provisional facade for the commercial on the ground floor. And he puts it there. This is Rafael. And waits and opens the zipper and lets the canaries there. So it's not that far from this photo, right? I was quite happy that day. Okay, now, really fast, I jump you to the next project, which for me is very important as well. It's a rehabilitation project. It won a prize. I called it middle, because this one is middle, okay. It won this New European Bauhaus mention. This is very, very important, because it has proved the compromise. This prize shows the prize for sustainability, inclusion, and of course also beauty. And this project for me is the example of how important it is to not demolish what we have, how important it is in terms of memory, but how important it is in terms of ecology, how important it is in terms of economy, because we already have a foundations, structure, I don't know, skin, no, envelope. So we were winning this competition to produce housing, emergency housing, which is a product that is quite new, because living in Barcelona is very, very expensive. This is Sant Feliu, but it's really nearby. And this housing is aimed for people that lost their home or lost their job. They have many problems. So they just need somewhere to settle for a while before they can start again, no? I think this is an example also not about architecture, but about the will of politicians and administration to do good. Because you need people that think that this is for a purpose. This is going to benefit someone. It's of course not an economic product, even though they didn't build the structure. But it needs the view of politicians that saw that this building, random, in the outskirts of Sant Feliu, has been empty for many, many years. This is a product of the immobilier bubble, and it was a private company building this to make a big supermarket on the ground floor, a parking garage, and then 2 levels of office. No one was buying this office building, no? It was staying like this for many years. So IMSOL again and the town hall of Sant Feliu came together to change the zoning code, no? The requalification of this building so that it could become this public facility, which is this kind of product of the emergency dwelling. So this was what we had. Basically, what we proposed was to produce a lot of units, but with qualities, certain qualities, that this wouldn't look like a hotel corridor, door, which was the first instinct. And we had to work on the envelope because this was really the situation, and then we had to bring a lot of better conditions to this place, no? Well, a little bit how this came out and how it is looking now. This is the shopping, and then there are 2 levels. This is a parking level, two parking levels, and then these 2 last levels are the housing. So in the corridor, I think you can see all what is black is common space. So we, again, in the hands of the promoter, in this case the administration, that allows us to not fill everything with housing and think that if we give these people some space to, because the units are very small, some extra space, they will be better people, they will have more strength to move on, they will have some other kind of qualities that otherwise, so they wouldn't have. So we proposed to open some windows at the end of the corridors and this skylight, no? This roof light was the main thing to provoke in the building 2 wells, 2 patios that will bring light, that would then connect the 3rd level and the 4th level through some moments to produce some green pots and areas to sit down and to connect through the kitchens, and you will understand through the light, through the corridor, that the corridor, the facade of the corridor will be something also that brings together the people. We were studying the qualities of these 3 patios, these 3 wells of light, in winter and in summer, because in winter they are closed, so they can capture the heat. So we need to spend less energy to heat our homes. In summer, they're totally open and they're ventilating all the time. And these are some of the photos. I will, because this is, again, this is the option. This is in summer. We put these sunscreens on the front. We open this skylight, and we make that every unit, it has cross ventilation, even from the 3rd floor as well. So the air that is common is going to be healthier if we have this patio than if we don't have anything. And in winter, what we do is closing only open. This has some temperature and humidity sensors, so it's opening every day at least 20 minutes, but if it rains, it's closing, et cetera, no? There were other facilities, no? This in the corner, in the best spot, instead of putting another unit, we were allowed, we convinced, okay, but they accepted, that this could be a good place for celebrating a birthday, or to have meetings, or to work if you are having some work to do, et cetera, et cetera. Another one was in here, in front of this was existing, of course, this core was existing, but when you come out of the core, have some nice views to the outside, have some common space, and in these moments you have the wells of light. No? There was another important thing, which is this one, that is the moment when you take off your key and you're going to your home, and suddenly, just by doing this small gesture, no? Because we were looking for getting these qualities again, no? What moves us, no? This kind of this sense of belonging, or this care on the relations, etc. That also people could, while cooking, could talk to their neighbor, etc. And these are the common areas. Again, also, like we didn't. This was existing. We just made like this paint work that would be gentle, that would give some extra harmony to the put the total. And for us, it's very uncommon to have these spaces, but this is also like something that was new in Barcelona, was to have the common laundry. Because also then they have, the whole promotion has only one counter of electricity, so it's wasting less money on the monthly rent price, but it's also more economic, like they're spending less money in ecological terms, because we don't need to have one washing machine each. In the interiors, we were also preoccupied that there would be kind of, there's only one typologies of one dorm or of two dorms, no? The two dorms are wrapping the patios. And that there was some of these qualities permeating or infiltrated to the interior, no? To give some extra thing was like this wood that was accompanying in the corridor that would have this, it would cover this kind of spine, no? In the entrance and in this moment of the window of the kitchen. And also this little moment of where to put the TV, and it's simple, very low economic-wise, no? But money-wise. But it came out quite nice, I think. This is Martí, and this is me. And these are the typologies which you already understood, no? The wood is the pinkish type of thing. Okay, this is the small, or extra small, I think. This is how much time do I have now? Well, I will go very fast. This is a project with my students, a workshop of 3 days, and that's another FAD award. So that FAD awards is something that is in the prize of the best projects in the Iberian Peninsula. So it's very exceptional, and it's very exceptional to have two. It's very exceptional of having two, one of 1,500 euros and one of 7 million euros. So you can see how small it is. So these are the authors, together with me and Martí, and Adrià Muros, who was a teacher of installations, or no sé cómo se llama. Okay, so we hang this poster in the university, and we said, do you want to be involved in a 3-day workshop? It's for a party that will take place in Barcelona in February. We have tradition. We have traditionally two, you know that, no? Two, no sé cómo se dice, the festivity of La Mercè, which is in September, who is now the patron, no, of the city, and we have in February the festivities of Santa Eulàlia. For those that don't know, for La Mercè, it always rains. Why? The tradition says that it's Santa Eulàlia that is crying because she was desterrada, I don't know, they kicked her out of the patronaje. She's the second one, because in the 17th century there was a plaque and they changed. They decided to kick off Santa Eulàlia because they were praying to La Mercè. So Santa Eulàlia does her thing every year in September. The legend says that Santa Eulàlia was a super brave girl. She was 13 years old, and she was very angry at how things were going in the century one after Christ, and she went to the town, she was from Sarrià, she went all the way down to the Barcino, to the center of the Roman Empire in Barcelona, and was talking to Diocletian, who was Dacià, who was the man in charge at the moment, and he was saying that she was not accepting the way that they were treating the Christians, that it was not possible, and she was actually supposedly very insisting, and this emperor or this person, I don't know the name in English, told her that she would get 13 punishments, one for each year that she had. I'm not going to go through the details, it's terrible, but really, one of them is like they put her in a barrel full of nails and glass, broken glass, and they make her roll down a street, which is La Baixada de Santa Eulàlia. And then at the end, they crucified her in this cross, X-shaped cross, and carried her around in the city naked, and then in the end they put her down, and it is said that in Barcelona there was a big snowfall, that moment to cover her impurity for being naked, and that the culom, no sé cómo es diu, a bird, a white pigeon, came out of her mouth, no? Well, the students were so terrified with this story that they decided that the installation we had to do for the festivity, it's a light festival, I don't know if I said that, had to do with these 13 punishments that this poor woman had. And there's no sound? Oh. Oh. Well, as well. Well, there's no sound, but the installation was doing these 13 tiers, 13 ice tiers. So how to make a tier of light? This is another problem. It's like doing 79 housing dwellings. How to make a tier of light, no? Well, the place was this Casa Padellas in Via Laietana, also in palace that has been, when they opened Via Laietana, they had moved stone by stone on top of the Roman ruins, which came out very, very nice. So this is Casa Padellas, and underneath is the entrance of the History of Barcelona Museum. And when we visited the place, we saw that this had this very vertical, this kind of very vertical proportion, because it's a palace and it has this patio, this courtyard, and you go through a tunnel, and then suddenly you cross the tunnel and you look up in this patio. It's really, and there's also a stair and a balcony that make you go along 3 of the sides of this patio. We brought some light at the loggia. This is the loggia where the palace has the entrance. But we asked all the visitors to go up the loggia because they saw the blue light and they invited to move. It was beautiful because you had to walk in and up to participate of the piece, no? And then we wanted to represent the cross of Santa Eulalia and how to do it, no? How to do it. We had to hang 13 balls from the air. We were allowed to go up to 2 of the sides of the patio and bring these woods that would hang the element that then would be dripping down from different distances, no? And you cannot hear the video, but it was absolutely like chicken goose, ¿cómo se dice eso? I don't know, like, because it was extinguishing in itself the installation. So it had the time incorporated in it. And then it was falling, bam, on top of a plate, a very small plate from from any shop that was put upside down, so it would, every time that the water drop would hit it, would have some resonance because it's separated from the floor, and also would replicate the half of the cross because it was very sharp and brilliant or shiny, would replicate the part of the cross that we didn't have. To produce, this is the only photo. We were so busy every day building this up that we had no time to make good photos, but I think that really I want to share because this was something done with so few that was so perceived by so many, like it was so special, no? And in the end it's an ice, but it seemed that it was the light that was dripping, and it fell into these plates, no? For doing it, we have to make an executive project, no? To do this, all the prototypes and and first we were working with balloons, but everything was unperfect because when the water froze, the water was this shape, and we had to do so many exercises until we found the perfect mold for a sphere of ice, which is a basketball ball, and to fill it with water and ask a friend to lend us the freezers. He had a bar nearby, so we filled his freezer with basketball balls, and every day in the morning we make the hole, we put in some some a LED light, but a LED that is nothing, and it went into this plastic protection that is actually for free. It was for free from the florist. Flores Navarro gave us for free a lot of them, so we could put it inside, and this shitty plate, but every time the water was coming, it was like Gota Malaya. I don't know how to say this. It's like a torture music. Bam, 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 bam. Incredible. Yeah, and everybody, so like the water, the light is going down. How is it possible, no? The rest of elements were also like really cheap, but there is a construction detail, of course, and we had to put neoprene everywhere. This is a palace, a very important building. You cannot touch it, but it was a very good opportunity, no, of bringing this to doing tests at the university. And well, I'm just having so many, because you can see, like every day we did this, and we changed because after it was on for 4 hours, like the installation or the party is from 6 till 11, but then the ball was getting smaller, huh? But the net is just a fishing net, so there's really nothing, so really small. And you don't realize the net. It looks like really like it's full of light. So just for me, this is also something that is moving. No? Okay, and then XL, Plaza. This is a very interesting project that we were able to do thanks to Barcelona Regional. Josep Puigas was giving us this commission. And Port Olympic is an infrastructure that was running. It's a very important infrastructure for the city of the 1992, but it was going to go through some problems due to the bad use that the capital system has done to it, no? And a lot of problems with nightclubs, and there has been a murder in there, and it was coming to be rethought. What can we do, no? The fact that there were some problems, no? The disconnection between basically the harbor is a moment, for those who know Barcelona, that is a private property, no? That is blocking the connection through the beach. I will go very fast because it's difficult to explain it. And what we did was trying to find a way to incorporate this into the circuit of public spaces of the city. Because if we were to compare, Marina is the same size as Passeig Lluís Companys, but its capacity, it has capacity to be part of these urban moments of the city. No? Also, what we did was to compare it to the green areas of Barcelona, which has very few, no? Can we intensify some parts? So that's what we did, no? Could we improve the contact between the city, because this is the ring. The city has problems coming down to the harbor. And also when you are walking on the Paseo Marítimo, suddenly here it becomes a bit lost and it continues on the other side. But how can we bridge it, no? So we propose to intensify the green space here and creating a type of forest. Connect through and erase this ramp. This was a car ramp that was creating a dark moment underneath. So we propose to cross from the middle and then erase this bad moment and to make more permeability horizontally as well, no? From the beach, from the beach of La Barceloneta, being able to go into the harbor and walking around and continue to the beach of the Villa Olímpica. So we thought that this could be done in reactivating it to bring more collective, more familiar, more like trying that this was not only a nightlife place, and to bring more activities for families, but also for economy, but economy for the harbor and for products that we call the blue economy. No? We wanted to look at what Barcelona has been and the harbors and the places where people before, no, in other times, or in Bellinzona. Some examples, no? We were trying to bring a different sphere to this place. These are examples from other architects. I go really fast. So we were asking, we created some names, some areas, no? Esplanada de Marina, Complex Aquatic, Bosque Mediterrani, Plaza Mestral, a plaza next to the boats in the harbor, and Museu de les Ciències del Mar and Galeria Mercat. And we tried to figure out how many uses we were able to think of that were, had to do with recreational, commercial, sportive, social, and cultural in each of the areas, and that they would cross. No? Because that was the way to explain to the city how many things can we ask this place. We want to call it Puerto, Plaza. It has to become a place that has full of options. No? And this is a little bit then what we did. I don't think we have enough time to talk a lot about it, but the casino is a place that is totally enclosed. To open it up, cross through in the level of the Paseo Marítimo, and cross through in the other corner, that was the biggest thing, the most difficulty. And cross the cars from a bit zoomed in, and then this is in the lower level, and then in the upper level, disconnecting a little bit the moment when you have to continue with the Paseo Marítimo, then from this tip, and in this tip, propose a new aquatic sports complex that I will explain later. No? And so from the top, then from this new marina tip, then you would have some sports facilities under the canopy of trees, and the new entrance. You can see, these are schemes, the new entrance and the way to cross, and from above. So, in idea from the beach, how you would be trespassing to the harbor, so suddenly you could connect to the other beach. Nowadays it's done, but we didn't win the competition. That was the base of the master plan. The idea that the car would come in from the middle of Mestral, some other moments, and this is the moment where Marina, no, you can come up suddenly from the beach, jump to the other scale, to the other level. And so, well, I think there are some images at the end. So this moment here, Marina, has a big lost space because it's only the earth coming up. So we were planning to do this kind of complex for a dry deck, a way to enjoy the views from the sea and the harbor on top of Marina, and take away and have these sports facilities. And that's the bridge under the Fish of Gary and the view on Marina towards the Sagrada Familia. No, it's very prominent, but with some new uses of them for the cities. And so these are some of the sections. I don't think now we can go too much into detail of this. And so the atmosphere of the three moments, no? Aquatic complex, science museum, sea science museum, and the esplanade. This is the aquatic complex on the rooftop of a place that today is just asphalt. This is the museum the entrance to a museum that becomes part of the CSIC, which is already existing, and it's a new family use that is not so much up for casino purposes, and a way to go up. And finally, this kind of canopy that has installations and allows for some events to take place here. Like, for example, now we will do in the Congress of UIA, we will do the students' party in this place because it's underused, absolutely, and has these possibilities. No? And this is what we envisioned for the Plaza, no? Where suddenly can have some stalls and have some facilities going on, no? And also some pavilions that could come just from the water and attach themselves there and then go. No? We thought that this and the upper part being so much moisture than shadow that you can have this new harbor. Of course, we took away all the bars and nightclubs in front. Oops. And these are other options, no, that we have. So now, what is this? No, now I finished, but if you want, I can go very fast through what is going to happen in 2026. But I think that, well, I think that I can, I call it XXXXXXL, because this is taking all my time and all my energy since 2023, December, when we won the competition, and it will keep on doing it until 2026. But please reserve yourselves for end of June, beginning of July 2026. This is going to be a disruptive Congress of the UIA. I don't know if you've been to many congresses of the UIA, but it's the first time that it's happening again in the same city, 30 years later. And it is, well, and we, what we call, Barcelona was being the place where the 96 UIA was taking place, and the photo of this moment is Norman Foster, Peter Eisenman, sitting in front of the MACBA because he had a Barça t-shirt. You were there. I was going there also. But times have changed, right? And we think that if we got the chance to win a competition, it's because someone gave us the chance of winning a competition, making a competition. And so it's a good moment to say to the world that things are not the same anymore. So architecture is not done by one man in his office. Architecture is something that we do together with a lot of other disciplines, and it's a struggle, and it's necessary to have this joint energy to talk about the problems that the planet has at this moment. Our title was Becoming Architectures for a Planet in Transition. The central idea of becoming is to use time as a design tool to understand that we are not alone, that we come from somewhere and we're going somewhere. And instead of starting from scratch, we build on the landscape, cultures, histories, and memories of places, transforming them with care and complexity. For that, we propose 6 research lines. Becoming more than human, architecture as part of an ecosystem, fostering symbiosis and coexistence between humans, animals, and the environment, wind, water, and all the resources. I have to go a little bit fast, but we can have questions later. Becoming attuned, it's talking about what new poetics and sensitive approaches can we have to design, attuned to pre-existing conditions and everyday phenomena, both physical and digital. Becoming embodied focuses on the construction process and material transformations and the agenda that the agency that materials have and the traces that they bring with themselves, no? Their environmental, social, and aesthetic impact. Becoming interdependent explains architecture as a political tool to design spaces of care, cooperation, and collective rights, recognizing our mutual interdependence. Becoming hyperconscious, becoming hyperconscious is a very interesting one. It's talking about things that are intangible, but that they dictate our everyday life, like internet, like regulations, like geopolitics. It's going to talk also about artificial intelligence, data, and how global systems impact local spaces, and how can design respond to that. Becoming circular is a call to rethink construction through reuse, energy, recirculation, and spatial reprogramming, aiming for low carbon and regenerative architecture. Finally, what we aim is at a Congress that produces knowledge, not only coming to disseminate what is already done, but about creating new ideas. There will be researchers working in a specific investigation for 1 year, 12 recognized architecture firms. 6 are using Barcelona as a laboratory, and 6 have international investigations going on. They already started, some of them. Then we're going to have workshops, international, for young, emerging architects and students. So be aware, I will be contacting you, so you are like my, in the USA we have to reach as well. So we have this, and we have critical antagonists who are persons more like from other disciplines, philosophers, and artists on thinkers that will interpret the works done in the workshops that are short-term because they last 1 week, and the research by designs that last 1 year. And they will give critical reaction and put it in context of what's going on in terms of what they are proposing and according to the 6 research lines. Of course, there's speakers in the Congress, more than around 200. And some of them are coming from this open call. Call for participants has already started. So, just please present your proposals. We have 3 submission formats. This is really a bit strange, no? Critical design, which aims at projects of architecture, or urbanism, or landscape, etc., but also maybe experimental methodologies can be built or can be speculative, it doesn't matter. Critical essays, unpublished essays or academic articles that can bring, according to each of the research lines, some knowledge and that can be shared. We are thinking in this category more in the academic sector, maybe. And critical image, which is open to films, photography, documentaries, that have to do with any of these spatial and no, all what is worrying us, all what is moving us. Also, like it could be like an interview, a documented interview, for example, that is coming to the Congress. And then in this open call, what we will do through some expert juries that are working with us is choose people that will come to talk in the Congress, but also that comes and becomes part of the central exhibition and the catalog. I can already, like last week we had the press release, so I can already say the names of some of the juries that will be part of our call for participant jury of experts, and you have them here. Chu Tian, Catherine Mosbach, Samia Henny, Marina Otero, Philippe Ursprung, Lydia Calipoliti, Giovanna Borassi, Maxime Delvaux, Utsi Grau, and there will be more, of course. For this call for participants, the deadline is the 23rd of May. Maybe they will be a bit extension. See. And the international student competition will be launched this spring. And this is going to be a theme, open enough that everybody in their or his or her latitude can develop the strategies of this becoming research line or the theme that the competition is publishing. It's a single stage competition. As I said, there's an option, and the place where we will have the Congress is also a different one. This is going to be more a festival than a Congress. No, we're not going to be inside with like all the time in the same place. We want an urban Congress, one that makes the city become part also of the circuit and of the visitors, and that we have this friction that I think is much better than being in a Congress center locked up. And there will be also, like, the schedule will be very dynamic. There will be a lot of debates, more than dissemination, as I said, and we will have, it will be very hot, okay? We will make we will prepare all the scenarios outside because there's not enough space inside. The exhibition inside, this is an amazing building that has been only used once for public, open to public, which is Manifesta. I don't know if you had the chance to visit it, but it's amazing. And we want to use it again because has been some money spent on railings and things that we can do once again, one big city thing to happen in this place. So it will be also in the Design Hub, but that's it. Thank you.
Maybe we have time for one question or two. Anyone has a question? Anyone has a question for Mariona?
I know a student of yours that has to have, he said that he will make a question afterwards.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that exciting lecture where you saw some of your professional work, some of your collaborations, some of your academic work, and now the work that you're doing for the World Congress 30 years after the other World Congress in Barcelona. You made a comment about something that took place back then in the other Congress in 1996, which was in the covers of the newspapers with Peter Eisenman wearing I was there as well, so I remember. And you were clear about how architecture has changed from that moment until today. Being also part of academia, how do you think that academia has changed since that moment until today?
I think that the sharing of knowledge that is done in academia, the way that we had done it until 96, or we could do it in 96, and today is changed completely. I think today you can listen to lectures from people, very interesting people from all over the world, from your home with this thing and with the internet. So I think that, and especially after the pandemic, a lot of universities also disseminated the lectures or programs. And that's for me a little bit one of the points, no? Why do we come to explain my work if I have access to all any architect that we could choose to bring here, no? To bring to the Congress. The works of people are published through the internet, and it's better to friction things. No? That's why we bring this critical antagonist or this local host, I don't know if I mentioned it, that people that can wrap up or they can make contextualize or confront ideas. So I'm more interested to, instead of having a lecture from Andres Jaque, but someone else that can debate with him in front of the audience. This is new. This doesn't exist. If something that we have to listen to is Peter Eisenman explaining his building, I know that. We don't want to get that again. Instead, we want to have something that is original and generate some conflict. Why not? No, and actually, these scholars will always say that we don't expect any solutions. No, the politicians say, and what are the solutions that are coming after? We say, no, maybe we only have to very clearly point out what are the urgent questions, because what about this idea of becoming, this idea of time, we need urgent solutions for problems that need a lot of time to be solved, because we come from, we've destroyed the planet, we have to make or be precise about what the main questions have to be, what has to keep us busy, where have we to get clear of some ways to work together. I don't know if this is what you were asking for, but it changed a lot. Yeah.
It takes a while, I think.
It takes a while. It did. Thank you so much. I enjoyed a lot the presentation, and also the skills of the works, the skills of habitation, but also the skills of communities and relationship with the city. I appreciate that. So I don't have a question. I have an anecdote. I was also part of the lighting. Here we go. I didn't want to say the year, but I was also a student that I competed in the competition. I remember very clearly. It was an intervention in Ribelles. And according to Roberto Segre, he's a very famous Latin American historian, he said that I was the only Latin American that won an award within the whole Congress, including like students and the professionals that were competing at the same time. So I say this because first for the students that are here, that it's important, to participate in competitions, share their ideas at this level. But also I think this is something that is probably going to be very different with this one, right? Like 30 years after, not only Latin America.
No, from all around the world. No.
I think I'm quite loud. So I just want to say that for the students, definitely, participate, compete. I mean, reach out to your faculty. We can always be advisors for whatever ideas we're proposing. And also for these, just competitions in general, it's having big change, right? Like, I'm sure I'm not going to be the only
Latin American and Caribbean student participating, but just being there. I remember the celebration was at the Montjuic, and like all my friends, they threw me to the water fountain. So it was exciting to be there. It's also a time for all of you build communities. They build your own community, which is the school, and also your colleagues. So submit proposals.
Yeah.